Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're diving into something I know a lot of you are really passionate about how awesome animals are,
Oh, yeah.
but not just like our everyday love for our pets.
Right.
We're talking about the science behind what makes the bond between humans and animals so special.
And we've got some really cool stuff to get into.
Yeah, we dug up a ton of research for this one. Everything from like the history of humans and animals to
Oh.
the latest in animal therapy and even a peek into what the future holds. It's going to be fascinating.
I'm excited to see where this goes.
Me too.
Yeah.
Especially this whole stack of studies on the human-animal bond. I had no idea. There was so much research on how animals affect us.
It makes sense, though, when you think about it. I mean, this connection is a huge part of so many people's lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So where do we even begin with all of this?
Well, one of the most interesting things is how this whole human-animal bond thing is rooted in our biology. Like, we're programmed to connect with animals.
You mean like how I instantly feel calmer when my dog is around?
Exactly. It all goes back to attachment theory.
Attachment theory.
And
Like
with
how
that.
babies bond with their parents.
Exactly. That same kind of deep connection applies to our relationships with animals. It's like this primal instinct we have to form bonds, and animals tap right into that.
So that feeling of comfort and love isn't just in our heads, it's like biological.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all thanks to this little hormone called oxytocin, the love hormone.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
Well, it plays a huge role in both humans and animals when we form close bonds. It's like a chemical cocktail of good vibes that helps us build trust and feel less stress.
That makes so much sense. It's like when I cuddle with my cat and we both just melt into a puddle of love.
That's oxytocin at work. And the cool thing is, it's not just a one-way street. Both humans and animals experience these benefits.
Wow. So it's like a win-win for everyone involved.
Exactly. And speaking of wins, did you know that having a pet can actually have a real impact on your stress levels?
Wait, really? I always thought that was just me trying to justify my pet obsession.
Nope. It's backed by science. There are tons of studies that show pet owners tend to have lower blood pressure and produce fewer stress hormones, even in situations that would normally stress them out.
So you're telling me my cat is basically like a furry little therapist.
In a way, yeah, animals have this incredible ability to ground us and bring us back to the present moment. It's like they have this calming aura.
That's so true. Every time I come home stressed, my dog is just there, happy to see me. It's impossible to stay stressed when you've got a furry face greeting you at the door.
And it goes beyond just stress relief. Some research suggests that growing up with pets can actually have a positive impact on your immune system.
Seriously, I thought all those pet allergies were working against me.
It's counterintuitive, right? But studies show that kids who grow up with pets, particularly dogs, might be less likely to develop allergies and asthma.
No way. So all that time I spent trying to keep my house free of pet hair, I could have been building up my immune system this whole time.
It's possible. The thinking is that early exposure to all the microbes that pets bring into our homes might actually help train our immune systems to be more resilient.
That's amazing. So not only are our pets making us happier and calmer, but they could be making us healthier too. That's incredible.
It really makes you appreciate the profound impact that animals have on our lives in ways we might not even realize.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
So much for thinking animals are just cute companions. They're like furry little health gurus.
Well, maybe not gurus, but they definitely bring a lot to the table.
I'm curious though, is all this research mostly about cats and dogs? Or do other pets offer similar benefits?
You're right. Most of the research does focus on cats and dogs, probably because they're the most common pets. But there's a growing interest in studying the benefits of other species, too.
Like what kind of animals?
Well, for example, there's evidence that interacting with horses can be incredibly therapeutic, especially for people who struggle with emotional or behavioral issues.
Interesting. So it's not just about having a pet. It's about finding the right animal for
Mm.
your specific needs.
Exactly. And it doesn't even have to be super hands-on interaction. Even just watching fish swim in an aquarium has been shown to have calming effects. It can lower blood pressure and heart rate.
Wow. I never thought about it like that, but that makes sense. It's like having a little piece of nature right there in your home.
Precisely. And the beauty of the human-animal bond is that it comes in so many forms.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder about the real-world applications for all this research. I mean, we've all heard those heartwarming stories about therapy animals, but what's the actual impact they're having out there?
Oh, it's incredible. We're seeing therapy animals make a real difference in so many different settings, like take children's hospitals, for instance.
Oh, man. Yeah. Those places can be really tough for kids to deal with.
For sure, all those unfamiliar faces and procedures, it can be overwhelming. But when you bring a therapy dog into that environment,
It just changes the whole mood.
right, like it's this instant calming presence. There are so many stories about therapy dogs helping to ease anxiety before a procedure or just being a comforting presence during a difficult treatment.
I bet the kids just love having something familiar and comforting to focus on in those scary moments.
Absolutely. It's like they have this sixth sense for knowing what a child needs. They meet them at their level and just offer pure unconditional love and support.
I think it's amazing how animals can do that without even saying a word.
It's true. They have this incredible ability to connect with us on a deeper level, and I think that's especially important for children who might be struggling to express what they're going through.
Makes sense. And it's not just kids who benefit from this kind of therapy,
Hmm.
right? I've also heard about therapy animals working with veterans who have PTSD.
Oh, absolutely. The impact of therapy animals on veterans with PTSD is huge. It can be truly life-changing. And it's not just about highly trained service dogs either, although those are amazing.
Yeah, I can see how having a constant companion could be so grounding and reassuring for someone struggling with those invisible wounds.
Exactly. Even just the presence of a therapy dog can provide a sense of safety and security, and they can be trained to pick up on signs of distress in their human and intervene.
So like if a veteran is having a flashback or a panic attack, the dog could help them through it.
Exactly. Maybe they nudge them or offer a comforting presence or even create a physical barrier to help them feel safer. It's all about interrupting those cycles of fear and anxiety and giving them back a sense of control.
That's incredible. It's amazing to think that animals can provide that level of support and understanding. It really speaks to the depth of that human-animal bond.
It really does. And it's not just in those high-stress situations either. Therapy animals can have a profound impact in places like nursing homes, too.
Oh yeah, I bet. That's got to be a really tough environment for a lot of seniors.
Hmm.
Loneliness, isolation, maybe even facing a decline in their physical or cognitive abilities.
Exactly. It's a lot to deal with. But bringing a therapy animal into that environment, whether it's a dog, a cat, or even a rabbit, can make a world of difference.
I imagine just having that furry companion to interact with would be so uplifting for someone who might not have a ton of visitors or social interaction.
You got it. Even something as simple as petting an animal releases endorphins. It can lower blood pressure
Yeah.
and give them a sense of connection and purpose.
It's like bringing a little spark of joy into what could be a pretty monotonous environment.
Exactly. And we can't forget about the power of nonverbal communication. Animals are amazing at reading our body language and emotional cues.
Oh, they totally are. Sometimes it feels like they understand us better than we understand ourselves.
Right. They pick up on those subtle shifts in our mood, and they respond accordingly, offering comfort and companionship without us even having to say a word.
That's so powerful,
Yeah.
especially for folks who might struggle to verbalize their feelings or who might feel self-conscious in social settings.
It's like animals create this judgment-free zone where people can just be themselves, and that's huge.
It's amazing to hear about all the good therapy animals are doing out there. Makes you kind of want to go out and adopt a whole pack of them.
I know, right?
But it's a big decision, too,
Yeah.
and not something to jump into without some serious thought.
Oh, absolutely. As much as we love our animals, it's important to remember that it's a responsibility, not just a fun hobby.
Right. It's not all cuddles and playtime. So what are some of the big things people should consider before they take the plunge and bring an animal into their lives?
Well, first and foremost, think about the time commitment. Can you realistically give this animal what it needs? Walks, playtime, training, grooming. All of
Yeah.
that takes a lot of time and effort.
Yeah, for sure. And I imagine it depends on the type of animal too, right? Like a super energetic dog wouldn't be a good fit for someone who lives in a tiny apartment or works 12-hour days.
Exactly. It's about finding the right match for your lifestyle and the animal's needs. And then there's the financial aspect too. It's not just about the initial adoption fee.
Oh yeah, those vet bills can really sneak up on you.
Yeah.
Plus food, toys, bedding, it all adds up.
It really does.
Yeah.
Responsible pet ownership means being prepared for both those everyday expenses and unexpected costs, like if your furry friend gets sick.
Definitely something to factor in for sure.
Uh,
But beyond the practical side of things, there's also the emotional commitment, right?
100%. Animals bring so much joy, but they have their own feelings too. They can get stressed, anxious, they even grieve. So
Mhm.
being a responsible pet owner means being there for them through the good and the bad.
It's like any relationship. You got to be in it for the long haul, not just the cute and cuddly moments.
Exactly. It's about respecting them as individuals with their own personalities and needs. And hey, sometimes that means thinking outside the box a little bit when it comes to choosing a pet.
You mentioned this earlier, but I'm really fascinated by the idea of different kinds of animals as companions. What are some of the unique things they can offer?
Well, miniature horses, for example, are becoming more popular in therapy settings. They have this amazing calming presence that can be really beneficial for people with anxiety or emotional challenges.
I've even heard of therapy rabbits, which I can only imagine is the most calming experience ever.
What about birds, though?
Birds are great because they engage different senses. Their singing can be incredibly uplifting, especially for folks who might be feeling isolated or down. And even just watching them fly around and interact can be therapeutic. It's like having a little piece of nature right in your home. It makes you think about how differently we view animals across cultures, too.
Oh, that's a whole other fascinating aspect. In a lot of indigenous cultures, animals aren't just pets. They're seen as kin, as respected members of the community. There's this deep sense of connection and reverence for the natural world.
That's so different from what we often see in Western cultures, where it's more about individual ownership and the whole pet industry.
You've got a point there. Cultural perspectives definitely shape how we see and interact with animals. And as we learn more about this bond, it's important to approach these conversations with respect for everyone's views.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No matter how you slice it, though, the science is clear. Animals have a huge positive impact on our well-being.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And the best part is we're only just scratching the surface. The future of animal therapy is wide open.
What do you mean?
Well, we're seeing new technology pop up all the time. Virtual reality experiences, apps that connect people with trained handlers, even if they can't have pets themselves. It's pretty exciting.
So even if you can't swing having a pet in your home right now, you can still experience the benefits of animal therapy. That's amazing.
Exactly. As we continue to research and understand the human-animal bond, who knows what incredible breakthroughs we'll make.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive. I feel like I've learned so much and maybe even gained a new appreciation for our animal friends.
Me too. It's been a pleasure exploring this with you.
And for our listeners out there, remember, this is just the beginning. Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep celebrating the incredible bond we share with animals.